Okay, we are on Word Chapter 3, Part 2. In this part, we will add a letter to our letterhead. So with my blinking cursor right here where I want to start typing, I need to change the spacing of my letter. So I'm going to choose no spacing because if you remember from our last unit, when you're typing in Word, it puts in extra spaces between paragraphs, and we want this to be single-spaced. The next thing we need to do is we need to turn on our ruler on the View tab, Ruler, if it's not already on. Mine is on, but yours might not be. And we want to set some custom tab stops. Over here in the corner, you'll notice that when I hover over this button, it says left tab. These are my tab stops. So I want to make sure it's on left tab. And then I want to click where I want to set my first tab. In this case, at the 4-inch mark, I make sure that my tab is being set and I click OK. So I've set the tab. You can see the L at the 4, but I still have to use the tab. Two-step process. Set it, use it. So to use the tab, I use my tab key. I type tab, and then in this point, I can insert whatever I need to. We are going to insert the current date. So instead of typing the date, we are going to insert it this way so that it can be updated need be. So to do that, on the Insert tab, you will see an option for date and time. So if I click on that, I can see a lot of formatting for my date and time. So I'm going to use the typical formatting for the United States. And if I wanted to, I could check this Update Automatically box, and then every time I use this letter, it would automatically put the current date on it, which is very handy if you're going to be using a letter over and over again. Now it's time, if I hit my Enter key, to do some typing. Okay, so next, now that we've done our typing, we want to create a quick part. So we'll use a building block to make our typing easier. So first off, to do this, I want to turn on my paragraph marks so that I can see where my Enter key is. And then I'm going to highlight the name of this company right here, Tam's Artistic Designs. The tricky part is that I don't want to highlight the paragraph mark right beside the S. I just want to highlight only those letters in that word. Now if I go to my Insert tab and find the text area, there's one that says Explore Quick Parts. And I'm going to click on that and choose Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Now for the name, I'm going to type T-A-D in lowercase. And so now, every time I type T-A-D, it will automatically pop in the name of the company. It should make my typing a lot easier. Now that I've created my quick part, just so you know how to edit one, in the Insert tab, if I go to that Explore Quick Parts again, I find the quick part that I want, which is right here. And if I right-click on it and edit the properties, I get that box, that original box back up, and I can modify if needed. So in this case, I'm going to put in a description. Now that I've created that building block, I'm going to use it. So I'm going to type the sentence. The Park District has approved the vendor application for your business, comma, and now I will type T-A-D and press the F3 key, and it will automatically pop in the name of the business. The other way I can do it too is if I go to my Insert tab and that Building Blocks tab, I can just choose it from a list. So F3 or Insert, Explore Quick Parts. Let's take a look at non-breaking spaces. On the Home tab, if I turn on my paragraph marks, that will help me out. So I'm typing this sentence. I've gotten to "you will be participating in," and now I'm going to put our fall festival. Type the word "our," and now I put in fall, but I want to make sure that fall and festival stay together on the same line. So I'm going to use something called a non-breaking space. I'm going to hold down my control, my shift, and then I'm going to hit the space bar and type festival. Once I do that, if you notice, let me zoom in. If you notice, I have a different kind of dot between the words fall and festival. That's my non-breaking space. So control, shift, and then press the space. And as you can see, those words stay together no matter what line they're going to be on. So we finished typing out the words, and now let's insert a table. So to do that, we'll go to the Insert tab and find the Table button. And as you hover over the different rows and columns, you'll see a preview of what your table will look like. In this case, we want a 3x1 table. So I'll click. There's my table. It's empty. And so now to add in text, I just start typing in the box as long as my cursor is there. And I press the Tab key to go to the next box. And when I get to the end of the row, I hit the Tab key again, and it will take me down to the next row. Now that we've created our table, we can add some styles to it. So notice that when you've selected the table or your cursor's inside the table, you get two tabs for that table, a Design tab and a Layout tab. In the Design tab, there are table styles. If I click my More button, I can see there are even more table styles. And if I hover over them, I can see the different types of styles and the names of them. So I'm going to choose Grid Table 6, Color Accent 3, and you'll see it changes my table to a nice pretty red. The other thing I can do under the Layout tab is I can auto-fit my table so that it fits the contents that are inside of it. So I'm going to choose Auto-Fit. There's some choices here too, but in this case Auto-Fit Contents will make my table exactly the size of the things inside of it. When you're working with tables, it's important to know how to select different parts of the table. So if I want to select this column, for instance, if I hover right over the top of the table, I'll see a down-facing arrow. If I click, it selects the whole column so that I can apply things to all the cells in the column and I don't have to do them one at a time. So in the Table Tools, under Table Tools in the Layout tab, there's some alignment buttons. So I can choose to align the text in my cells using these buttons. I am going to choose the Align Top Center, and they center within the column itself. Now if I click off and I come back up and click this cross right here for my table, I can actually center the table itself, but the whole table has to be selected to do that. Now on my Home tab, if I click my center button, it will center my table on the page. Now what happens if I want to add a column or a row to my table? To do that, I make sure my mouse pointer or my cursor is in the box that is nearest to where I want to add it. And then Table Tools Layout tab, I look in the rows and column area and I can find different choices here. In this case, I want to insert a row above the top row. Now if you notice, I have 3 cells here, but sometimes you need to merge all 3 of those cells together. So to do that, you click, hold down your mouse button and drag across all 3 of them. And then Table Tools Layout tab, in the merge area, you'll see a Merge Cells button. If I click that, it merges the cells and makes them all one big cell. Then I can go ahead and start typing in that cell. And that allows me to put a title actually within my chart. Now, if I want to change the text of a row, so to select a row, if I click over here on the side of the chart until my arrow turns to a right-facing arrow, it will select everything in that row, and that will allow me to bold. Okay, I have now moved out of my table and typed my next line of text. Now I need to type a bulleted list. Now last week we talked about bulleted list. You do know that on the Home tab there is a bullet list in the paragraph area. But if you're somebody who likes to keep their fingers on the keyboard, you can also use an asterisk. So if I press asterisk and then I press the space bar, it will convert that asterisk into a bullet. And I can type my bulleted list. Okay, so we've been typing along, finished our bulleted list, added another sentence, and I'm right here. We look forward to your business, comma, and then remember our building block trick. If I type TAD and then hit F3, it will pop the name of my company in. This is very handy, especially if you work for a business and are going to be typing that business name over and over again. So it's time to do our closing for our letter. So I've typed the last paragraph, hit enter. And so now remember that we set a tab when we did our date up here at our 4-inch mark. So if I hit my tab button, it will tab over to that tab stop, and I can type sincerely. Enter 1, 2, 3. And then if I hit my tab key again, it moves to that tab stop once again. Now finished my business letter. I'll zoom out a little bit so that you can see the final product.